Hey everyone. So my article was called Building the Foundation by Scott McCoy, who is a voice professor and director of the Presser Music Center Voice Laboratory at Westminster College of the Arts in Princeton, New Jersey. So basically the article talked about a lot of things that make up the foundation of vocal singing and our job as a teacher and how that role comes into building that foundation for our students. So he took kind of the stance as a teacher and talked about a lot of problems that he's seen from his students, and he addressed that they both come from the native abilities of the singer as well as uh, just the previous teaching of other teachers. He says that one of the most important jobs of singing teachers is to habilitate appropriate vocal technique in students, and his quote is, "Do we simply tell them what to do, or do we invest the time and energy to facilitate their acquisition of the skills needed to be independent singers and musicians?" That'll come up a little bit later, but I think it can also be applied to any teacher in general. Um, and then two terms, rehabilitation, which is our basically what we do when we correct bad habits, and habilitation, which is our instilling of good vocal habits. We want more habilitation than rehabilitation. It's always easier to teach them correctly from the beginning than to correct problems that they've learned and put into muscle memory. So he talks, kind of puts in four different um, building blocks for this foundation. The first one is posture and breathing, the second, phonation, articulation, and resonance, the third, repertoire, and then finally, musical literacy. So as far as posture and breathing goes, it's a lot of stuff that we've talked about in class. Posture, good stance, feet shoulder width apart, chest up, and kind of this royal feeling, basically trying to eliminate as much strain and stress in the body as possible so we can be free to do the singing and music making. So as far as balanced breathing, it's not like breathing isn't one of those too much of a good thing is a great thing. Uh, Obviously, if we don't take in a good enough breath, the sound sounds anemic and just very thin and has a tendency to be flat. But if we do take in too much breath and cause that tension and strain, it can actually raise the pitch because the muscles distort phonation, leading to a pressed or breathy tone. Um, so we really want to go for a well-balanced breath that supports tone and enables just free production. So again, as little stress as possible. And as we've all experienced, we can talk day and night about it. So it needs constant reinforcement until it really, really becomes a habit. Um, and then as far as phonation, articulation, resonance goes, foundation of good phonation, it's a tongue twister, must include a cleanly produced tone. That's pretty much as simple as we can get. And then from there, articulation of the tongue and jaw should come from a state of muscular release, never rigid or tight, not a ta, ta. And then resonation is just a combination of the resonating chambers, the pharynx, the larynx, and the oral cavity, but also a little bit of the nasal cavity in there as well. As far as choosing repertoire for students goes, we really kind of control the success of our students. If we give them something too hard, obviously they won't be able to master the piece, but if they do, it's probably a long haul to that point, and we're not being able to really talk about the good things that they've done. It's more correct, 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 and that's really, really frustrating for students. So when we're considering vocal material, it's really, really important to consider everything, not just how well they can sing or how high they can sing, but more example is the tessitura, where the average pitch lies, is much more important than just that absolute range. And then it's especially important when choosing music for vocal auditions. Generally simpler is better. You see a lot of students go to high school solo competitions and just want to sing or play the most difficult piece out there, and they might get beat out by someone who can do really simple things really well, as opposed to showing off. And then finally, we come to musical literacy, and this is a big point that a lot of vocal teachers frustrate me about, because generally singers just can't read music. I don't know why that happened, whether it's laziness or just thinking it's easier, but you know, there's a lot of people come into college not being able to read music or not having strong rhythmic abilities, and that's partially to do with previous teaching, but also, you know, you're not going to be in vocal music, you're not going to be reading and super fancy rhythms like you see in the band world, but that should be more of a challenge than an excuse, in my opinion. So, you know, the time we take to teach rhythm and musical literacy in the beginning, when we're, you know, just learning music, is going to really help us in the long run, and be able to make teaching much easier. We don't have to teach everything by rote, so we can right from day one start reading music and making music, as opposed to teaching where the notes are. So, in summary, you know, we have to deal with posture and breathing, phonation, articulation, resonance, repertoire, and musical literacy, and without all four, our foundation and building blocks are skewed, and it will make things much more difficult in the long run. So, thank you, and have a good finals week.